Okay, welcome to the June 8th Thursday chat. We have quite a busy program, a lot of announcements and a number of presentations. So we'll start with Linda Weinstein. Go ahead. I don't see Linda.
She's here.
Here I am.
Okay.
Hi, thanks, Jerry, and nice to see everybody. Just once again, on this Monday, June 12th at 11 a.m., which is not our usual time for presentations. There's a wonderful program at Great Meadow Hall, and I look forward to seeing you all there. Bill McKibben is a environmentalist. He's an author, he's a professor, he's the writer of many books. He's a wise man and he's very entertaining. And he's going to come and talk to us about being in our third act, which is what we all currently are in. So come and join us and we'll have a good time together. Thank you.
Thank you. And now Michael Ross.
Thank you, Jerry. I wanted to give a report on the Appreciation Fund, which has now completed or completing its spring campaign. I'd like to start, first of all, by extending a big thank you to all of our employees who do so much for us. And I hope that we all will continue to thank them in person whenever we have the opportunity. Second, I'd like to extend thanks to all of the residents who contributed and made this a success. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about the reasons for the appreciation drive. I think we're all aware there is no tipping. It covers and allows us to say thank you to employees we don't see. And you're aware, as well as those we are aware of. A quick summary on what was accomplished this spring. We raised and distributed just under $150,000. 305 employees benefited from this or will benefit from that. This amounts to an average gift of about $490 per person. That varies from one employee to another based upon the number of hours they worked during the preceding 6-month period. Over 90% of our independent living residents participated, and with 218 residents actually contributing. The recommended amount this campaign stayed at $400, the same as previously, but 28% of our residents gave more than that amount. I want to thank in particular the members of the Appreciation Fund Committee, Alan Kanigsberg, Bob Brown, Bob Orkand, Helene Oppenheimer, Judy Rosenberg, all of whom put some significant effort into helping us do this. It's important. At the same time, I think there's been for a number of committees now an effort to get more of the community involved and to provide an opportunity for newer members of the community to participate. The Appreciation Fund Committee similarly is looking for and hoping to add one or more new members to work with us. This requires a certain degree of discretion, a willingness to put in some effort during both the spring and fall drives, and if possible, some experience in fundraising. I've been doing this for a year now. For me personally, there's been a real sense of satisfaction from hopefully contributing to the community and to making this a success. If anyone who's listening is interested in joining the Appreciation Fund Committee, please give me a call or send me an email and we can discuss it. Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you. Judy Goldman.
I just wanted to reiterate that on Monday, there is a bus trip to have free ice cream at Ben and Jerry's in Natick. Everyone is welcome. The bus leaves the 5000 building at 12:30, and we'll plan to be in Natick by 1. In addition to the free ice cream, there's a substantial discount if you want to buy any to take home. And this time, I hope that we will have a tour of the back of the house. It's interesting to see how they make the ice cream cakes, the enormous freezer where they use this, which they use for storage, etc. So if you're interested in going, please sign up, or if you prefer to drive, you're welcome to come as well. Looking forward to seeing everyone.
Thank you. Betty Shapiro.
Thanks, Jerry. Speaking now on behalf of the Volunteer Outreach Committee for one of our ongoing projects, namely the Potato Latke Mix Collection. For the benefit of those who are not familiar with this, it's something we have undertaken with over 100 organizations under the auspices of the Jewish Family and Child Services. And the food is collected for the family table, the Kosher Food Bank in the Boston area. And our responsibility is, as I said, potato latke mix. We do it 3 times a year: Passover, Hanukkah, and Rosh Hashanah. So you may be wondering why I'm talking to you now. Well, it turns out that Rosh Hashanah is September 15th. And we would want to make our deliveries to F&CS by Labor Day, which means that we have to have our collection before that. And we know that a lot of people disappear for the summer in various places, all of which probably have grocery stores, and you can purchase your potato latke mix anywhere. The bin for disposing of it, or depositing it, excuse me, is outside of Nosh, and it's there all year round for your donations of latke mix. So please remember to do this so that when Labor Day comes, we have a nice collection to share with the hundreds of families that need it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Jane Milner.
Thank you. Joan Ditzian alerted me to the fact that the bin for resident composters in the garage is overflowing. Thanks, Joan, for reporting this, and I'll notify Ciro immediately. The problem here is that Ciro started providing a much smaller bin for us, and it simply can't handle all the organic waste we're feeding it. We need the larger size bins. Faye Busgang, the guardian of the garage compostable bin, has had her eye on this. We've obviously reached the tipping point. This is a perfect segue into something I've been eager to communicate, which is a thank you to those residents who oversee the collection of products we're recycling, being soft plastics, paper bags, and now textiles, shoes, clothing, all acceptable to the Red Cross. They do this month after month, year after year. Yes, notify them if there's an overflow. We're a very conscientious group, and so we keep the caretakers of these collection sites busy. So shout out to Faye Busgang, custodian of the garage composting bin, Helene Koenigsberg, overseer of brown paper bags, Jim Feldman, Carol Klingen, and Bonnie Rosenberg, caretakers of the clear plastic collections, and Lloyd Tarlin, who tends to the Red Cross bin. We're grateful to each of you for your ongoing dedication to your task, work that makes Newbridge a greener community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Larissa Levitch.
Thank you, Jerry. I'm actually going to make an announcement on behalf of our fitness director, Christina. So she wanted me to make you aware that water aerobics will start on June 22nd at 10:30 and July 6th at 10:30. Class size limited to 18. First come, first serve. She also wanted you to know that Campus Walking Trails Tour is scheduled for July 13th at 10 a.m. I'm the first on the list. Meet at the gym, more details and flyer to come. If you have any questions, feel free to call Christina directly at 49311. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you. And now Josh Ferraro and Chef Eileen.
Well, thank you, Jerry. I just want to give a real quick thanks to everyone in the community who has offered their well wishes and emails and seeing them about my upcoming medical leave. So tomorrow will be my last day full time for several weeks. I will be in Wednesday for surgery on my back and anticipate being out for several weeks with an anticipated return sometime mid to end of July. In the interim, and this will be included in the foodie, Chef Eileen will be assuming many of the responsibilities that I have on a day-to-day basis, supported by Lynette, Charles, and other members of the team, and Matt and Jess Coleman as well. But your best resource, if it's something that you would be reaching out to me, you will be reaching out to Lynette and or Eileen, and they will get you in the right direction and the information. And I'll include that information in my email. My out of office email will include Lynette and Eileen's contact information, and my office phone will be forwarded and go directly to Lynette. I want to thank in advance Chef's offer, to support and help and take on these additional responsibilities in addition to everything that she does day to day. And with that, Chef Eileen is on the call today and will speak to you about some upcoming happenings. And she will continue to be on this Zoom call throughout the time during my absence. So Chef Eileen.
Hi, everybody. Just a few things are going on. We have our new Centro lunch menu that just started last Monday. And different new options, and they have a little tag if they're new, so you'll see the menu go out. Also, this Monday coming up, June 12th, we are starting the barbecues outside of Nosh. So that's starting this Monday coming up. Also, we are starting the corn on the cob. So we are doing it twice in Centro and twice in Nosh a week. So Centro would be Tuesdays and Saturdays, and Nosh will be Mondays and Thursdays for a corn on the cob. And then we also started opening our outdoor patio for both of the restaurants. And that what you need to do is make a reservation, and then upon request, ask for the patio, and then it's a first come, first serve basis, all weather permitting, of course. So that's all the kind of goings on right now in the culinary world.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, thank you, Chef. And then this information again will be repeated in the foodie. A couple of other items upcoming are Father's Day brunch on Sunday, June 18th in Centro, and a luau coming up on the first day of summer, June 21st. So again, those information and menus will be included in this week's foodie. And again, I thank you, Chef Eileen, and thank you to the community. And after tomorrow, I will see you back in a few weeks. Thank you.
Okay, we have a couple of questions. So Carol Mullen and then Judy Goldman. Go.
Okay,
ahead.
yes, just a quick question. You said, Chef Eileen, that the grill would be open for Nosh on Saturdays. Did you mean that? Did you say that? Saturdays?
No. What I said, the barbecue is open start next Monday, June 12th. And we have corn on the cob in Centro on Tuesday nights and Saturday nights. And we have corn on the cob in Nosh on Monday nights and Thursday nights.
And that will be, is it grilled or is it just corn on the cob? It's just boiled.
It's just
Okay.
boiled corn.
Okay, thanks. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Judy Goldman.
Eileen, as in previous years before COVID, we used to have the barbecues and people could eat in the terrace room. And I'm wondering if that's going to work again this year.
So you're talking about barbecues up in Centro?
Yes.
We will be having some barbecues in Centro. We're just trying to kind of time out what dates. So more to come on that, but We know for a fact that we'll be doing it once a week in the Nosh right now. And then we will be putting out some more barbecues in Centro, but more to come with that. It's more just to do with logistics right now than anything else. But we will have some, but not every week right now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on. David Rada.
Thank you, Jerry, and hi, everybody. I'm really glad to be with you all today to announce the launch of our Newbridge app for your phone, your tablet, your laptop, or your PC computer. So I can feel everybody's excitement coming at me through their muted screens right now. We're just so excited for this day. A lot has gone into this, and we'll try our best to walk you through the process today. So I'm going to start by trying to answer the question of how did we get here? So, and then I'm actually going to turn it over to Resident Bob Orkan, who's going to show you some of the features of this new service. So for many, many years, for those who have been at Newbridge a long time, know that the resident website, the nbocres.org, has been an invaluable tool for our residents almost since we started here at Newbridge. The late Ed Goldstein and then John Averill, followed by Jerry Nadich and others, did a tremendous job of providing you with, with these resources day in and day out. The resident website has actually announced its retirement and will be retiring this summer towards the beginning of August. So we had a challenge of replacing the resident website with all of the information that it contained. And we also saw this as an opportunity to bring you more. About 6 months ago, we started working with a company called Touchtown, and they work with senior living communities all over the country. It may not have been noticeable, but all of the digital screens you see on channel 918 and all the digital boards that are around the campus, the content actually comes through Touchtown. So we've been working with them for over 6 months now. Our sister community, Orchard Cove, has been working with Touchtown for over 2 years, and they actually have been using their app for 2 years. Part of our process was to reach out to our sister community, Orchard Cove, and have a call with them to learn how they launched their app, what went well. If they had to do it all over again, what would they do differently? It was at that point that I put together a group of resident testers. And I can't thank this group enough. Their names will be mentioned in Matt's letter tomorrow, because I wanted to make sure that the products that we are delivering today reflected the things that they thought were most important. So we met on a number of occasions and spent many hours together building the content for what is now our Newbridge app. About 5 or 6 weeks ago, we had enough content created for them to start using the app. So they might have shown some of you, they were using it on their phones, their laptops, their computers. And then we brought this group back together where they provided me with some really great feedback on what was working, what wasn't working. So the product that we have to show you today is not the finished product by any means, but it's something that you can all start using right away. So then the question, what happens next? So right as we speak, Joe Zagalis and our community life team are putting a letter in every single one of your mailboxes, which outlines in detail the steps to start using this product. You all, everybody on this call and every single resident at Newbridge already has a username, a password, and can start using the product right away. The directions for this are outlined in the letter that you will receive tomorrow. With that, I'm gonna invite Bob Orkan to share his screen And he's going to show, it's impossible for Bob to show you his phone, but this is for those who don't have a smartphone or a tablet, this is what you'll see when you access the website, the web version, the website for the app. So this same thing is going to show up in your tablets and on your phones, just in a smaller way. So Bob, I'm going to kick it over to you.
Yeah.
Bob, I think you have to unmute if you're talking.
I can't see him because the screen is.
Okay.
Okay, we can hear you, but you have to share your screen again. There we go.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So this is what you'll see when you open the app on your computer, whether it be a laptop or a desktop. On your cell phone, it will look, all of these icons will be present, but they'll be present vertically, rather than horizontally. So for me, my favorite is the resident directory. So you'll notice up on the top left, you can type in the name of a resident. So I'm going to type in, whoops, my name, if I can type. There you go.
Bob, go to expand all.
I don't think, well, all right. Now we can do it. Here we go. I'm still learning how to use this. So you can see my gorgeous picture. And then below is phone, home phone, mobile phone, if you've included that in the directory, email address. And then there's a place to fill in any details that you want to share with people. So I've done that: biography, family, education, hobbies, etc. Okay, so let's suppose that you want to find someone who plays bridge. All right, so given that this is not populated yet, if I were to type reading here, it shows on the left side who has indicated reading as a hobby. Okay, so not only can you find people, see what they look like in nice big type, but you can also do searches for information that you may want. Okay, so this is that. Let me go back. So the weekly newsletter, which we receive by email, let's go, here we go. So this is what it's going to look like on your desktop or laptop. So you can scroll down and see whatever information you want to see. All right. This is one area that more development is needed. It's a little complicated, and we will do that. We hope to come to the day when you can click on something and it will automatically go into your calendar. We're not there yet. So, but this is what you'll see if you open this screen. It's a little small on your cell phones right now, but all you have to do is expand with your fingers as you would normally expand something on the screen. Some of the areas are still under development. So I know that the culinary team is developing its own app within this app that will allow for more information. But for now, if you click on dining links, you can see that you can make your reservations through the app. So if you do central reservations, this is what you're going to see, what you're used to seeing now. Okay. If you go to program calendar, you can see on the left side the program calendar for this week. And if you click on it, you'll see the information for that particular program item on the right side. All right, so this is also under development, and we want to include more information. But this is sort of approximates what's in, which is what's available now. And you can see that a number of these areas are populated, but not entirely. So here is frequently called numbers. and by category on the left side. So if you open administration, for example, you can see the 3 people that are under that heading. You can open for more information. I noticed that Matt has not put his picture in yet. I won't comment on that. And there will be others as well, useful links on the left, etc. All right. So I think the more that you use this app, the more comfortable that you'll be with it. And you'll find that it has a tremendous amount of information. And as David said, this is still under development. It's going to be very important to hear the feedback from all of our residents, to see how it's working, to see what else you might want to include it. But I'm very excited about this, and I think that it's going to be a wonderful tool for us.
We have a couple of questions, Bob.
Okay.
Maya Fine and then Roz Holt. Go ahead, Maya.
So could you show us what the icon looks like on your computer?
This is it. Oh.
No, the
Yes.
icon for the app.
Yeah, not real. Well.
So if I could interject there. So in the instructions in the letter that you'll get today, it tells you the name of the app and it also says what it looks like. So you'll be able to, so all of the residents who've been using this were given very simple instructions, and they were all up and running using it in a matter of moments. So I'm confident the directions you'll get today, you'll be able to navigate it.
Good. Roz Holt and then Carol Mullen.
Bob, what happens, I send out every day, if there's a birthday, to Google Groups who goes to everybody at Newbridge. What's going to happen to that? It's been very popular. I've been doing it now for a long time.
So whatever people receive now via email, they will still receive.
But I mean, how do I do it? Someone's going to have to really give me instructions.
So Roz, you're not going to send the email through the app. You're going to send the email as you always have done. I think this is a good time just to stress to everybody that this is not taking the place of any existing communication tool we have. Eventually it will take the place of the resident website. But for those residents who don't have email, who are not comfortable using a computer or the web, they're not going to be left out in any way here, because all of the information that is conveyed through the app is also going to be conveyed through the normal paper process distribution of all of the, like the weekly packet that everybody gets in their email, the phone calls that we send out to people.
So the Google group will still be there?
The Google group will go on as usual. This is separate from that.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. That's good.
Carol Mullen and then Judy Goldman and Anna Marcus.
On the messages, what do you entail? What do you foresee the messages going to be about?
So good question. So there will be a day, not now, but hopefully sometime this summer or fall, where you'll actually be able to register for one of our outings using the app. So when you register for an outing like that, you'll actually receive like a text message with a reminder that you have a trip coming up. We can actually send out a message to all residents if we want, saying, don't forget about the wind down tonight at 4 o'clock. Right now, we're using other ways to communicate those, but those are some of the ways the messages are going to be used, kind of like a text message.
Can residents send messages to each other using that vehicle?
No. So a resident who's using this on their phone, all they have to do is click on the email or their cell phone. If they click on their cell phone, they'll actually be able to send them a text.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about, you just click that button.
Here's an example.
Yeah.
This is Zalman's because he's A, so that came up quickly. But you'll see that if I click on Zalman's email address, I can send an email to him.
Oh, that's,
Okay?
Or call him, yeah.
Or
okay.
call him, whatever.
All right, Judy Goldman.
This all sounds wonderful. I do have a question, however. Who is going to be the administrator if we have a problem? I have not been able to get onto the resident website for months, and I haven't been able to get any help on it. So who do we contact if we have a problem?
So good question. That will be also outlined in Matt's letter tomorrow. There'll be a number of ways that you can get help. One of the ways you can get help is by calling 49500, and you can put in a work order for our IT liaison. He's been working here for many, many months, Joe Bernardo. He's
Mhm.
somebody that can help you with this.
Joe
Joe
told me that he couldn't do it.
He couldn't, Joe
So
Bernardo
let's,
told you?
let's continue this offline.
Yeah, but I want to mention to everybody that in the letter, there'll be a number of ways to get help. We're also going to have a drop-in session next week, next Tuesday, from 1 to 3 in Great Meadow Hall. So if you're having challenges, you're afraid to use it, you can bring your laptop, you can bring your tablet, you can bring your phone to Great Meadow Hall, and there'll be volunteers, residents and members of the community life team who'll be there to help you one-on-one and help get you going with the app.
Okay, I'm gonna put an end to this after three people who have their hands up, Anna Marcus, Larry Crone, and Betty Weissel, because I think it's important, if we're gonna have any more questions, that you try it first, and next week, I think we should have somebody who is also able to answer questions here to answer any problems if the system of outside help hasn't worked during the week. So Anna, and then I see, and then Betsy. Charlie, I see dropped out. Go ahead, Anna.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I think that if anyone is confused by the terminology or by loading the app, they should go to the Tuesday help center, and you will get help with the directions that are on the letter if they don't make sense to you. The second point I wanted to make was that the About Newbridge icon contains a lot of information. For example, all the committees. Go into that app and explore it, or that picture. I won't call it an app. That picture, click on it, and you'll see there's a lot of information there.
Also, the dog directory is in there, Anna. You can't forget that.
What? Didn't hear you, didn't hear it.
Say that again.
Bob, if you want to click on About Newbridge, one of the things we included in there is our that we're proud of is our dog directory. So
Oh, one
About
second.
Newbridge.
Wait a minute, I'll do it. It's behind the, there we go.
Yeah.
All right, so
there you can see the clubs, committees. You can access the YouTube channel. You can look at previous issues of the bridge, and of course our dog directory.
So we got to do something about a cat directory.
Thank you, Jerry.
We need to find each other. All right, Betsy Weissel, go ahead. And this is the end of this presentation. Go ahead.
It's very exciting. I'm excited about it. But under useful links or things going on, is there a place that we can put in the Good Samaritan program? Because I get calls or people don't know who to ask. I just want to know if there's going to be an option to do that at some point in time.
Yes. This is the first version. This will evolve as we evolve. So yes, at some point, yes.
Okay, I'll take it up with you.
And
offline.
before
Thank
we
you.
Jerry, before we end, I just wanted to thank our resident testing group. Their names will be listed tomorrow. And also a big shout out to Joe Zagalis and Nancy Vega. One of the things that Nancy Vega has been working really hard on is one of the things that Bob didn't go into are the one-stop shop forms. So you'll be able to send a work order request, an IT request, a member away form, or actually a medical transportation request right through the app. And that was in large part due to Nancy. A lot of people spent a lot of time on this, and we just ask for your patience. like any new technology, you have to use it, okay? And we're here to support. But I just wanted to thank everybody. It's an exciting day to finally launch this for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, David. So next up, we have a report on the finances. Paul Hardeman had planned to be here with Carol Johnson, but he's unable to. And so Carol Johnson, you're on.
Thank you, everyone. Just to recap briefly, if you'll remember back about 5 years ago in 2017, Newbridge secured long-term debt financing in the bond market. We'd previously had some short-term bank financing. And I just wanted to report out that Fitch rates the Newbridge bonds. These are 40-year bonds. We pay them down with a fixed dollar amount every year, kind of like a home mortgage, only instead of 30 years, they're 40 years. And Fitch rates our bonds. This year's bond rating was a BB+ with a stable outlook, which is one notch below investment grade. There are three categories they rate us on. One is revenue defensibility, basically occupancy and market position, and Newbridge was rated as an A on that risk. Number two is operating risk, which is we were rated a BBB, which means we have strong operations financially with normalizing debt. The only category where we were below investment grade was on the financial profile, which was rated BB, and that's because of the ratio of cash to debt. So very strong performance from Newbridge last year. And I wanted to kind of touch on a couple of items that we are watching. If Jerry, if you don't mind, I will share screen here.
All set. Go ahead.
Okay. This is kind of, you'll remember from last year's budget presentation, we're watching expense increases. Some of these expense increases we had attributed to the COVID pandemic. Unfortunately, we're seeing longer term trends here. So over the last 4 years, we're looking at about 26.6% increase in our expenses. The monthly service fee increases have been 22.4, so there's a little bit of a gap there. And our primary concern is right in the salaries and wages. And what's happening with salaries and wages is essentially over the last 5 or 6 years, we've had a slight increase in the number of people who work here. When we talk about the number of FTEs, those are full-time equivalents. It's just a way of counting employees. The number of full-time equivalent employees has gone up about 6%. However, the average cost in salaries and fringe benefits or salaries for those has gone up about 33%. So overall, those two combined are leading a almost 40% increase in salaries and wages and a 60% increase in fringe benefits. Newbridge, as well as the rest of HSL, has been monitoring the labor markets. We've done extensive compensation adjustments, studies, and adjusted salaries as needed. The goal is to retain our staff. Turnover is expensive from a training and recruiting standpoint, and it leads to lower quality services. So we continue to compete aggressively for staff in the market at all levels. This is kind of where the FY22 expenses and results for independent living came out. We had revenues of about 19.5 million, and 96% of that is monthly service fees. That's virtually the only source of revenue for independent living. The rest is just some minor ancillary charges. Expenses were about 19.7 million. So overall, we had expenses in excess of our revenues last year of about 200,000. This is how those expenses break out by category: housekeeping, executive fiscal, HR, IT and telecom. insurance, property and casualty and liability insurance. This is a category that has been growing significantly. I think if you've been watching the news, insurance premiums are a concern pretty much everywhere. As an example, about 3 years ago, the cost of insuring Newbridge as a campus was about $350,000. This year, it was a little over $800,000, and our quotes for next year are in the 1.2 million range. So we're facing a lot of challenges with that. Marketing, I just wanted to point out here that marketing expenses are relatively low for Newbridge at only 3%. And the primary reason for that is because our residents do most of our marketing. So I'd like to thank you for that. We get most of our people coming in to look at Newbridge through word of mouth. So the marketing expense here is mostly sales and or salaries for our sales team. The management fee to HSL covers the expenses that are not directly allocated to Newbridge for overhead. So executive, legal, fiscal, development, corporate communications, etc., are covered by the management fees. Fringe benefits are the expenses for our providing payroll taxes, health care, 401ks, workers' comp for our employees. Resident services, this category includes concierge, fitness, programming, chaplains, social workers, the move team, pretty much everybody who supports the residents. Plant and maintenance is a large chunk. This would include the maintenance of the repairs of the campus, but also things like snow plowing, landscaping, trash pickup, all of the salaries of the maintenance staff. Utilities is another big chunk of the expense. This has been actually a bright spot for us over the last 3 years. Our HSL team was very opportunistic, and when utilities dropped during COVID, they leaped on the opportunity to lock in very low utility rates on a 3-year contract. Unfortunately, that contract will be expiring at the end of September, and we're finding some fairly significant rate increases for both electric and gas in the market now. Not as bad as it was a year or so ago when the Ukraine situation first arose, but certainly we're up against a contract that was at historically low prices. So we will be seeing some increase in utilities. To offset those utilities, we've undertaken some capital projects like replacing all of the lighting. We continue to look at opportunities in areas like solar. And as we replace equipment, we're looking at much more energy efficient equipment. So there are a number of things that we do on an ongoing basis to try to manage utility costs. Real estate taxes are another significant expense. We did settle on real estate taxes with the town about 5 years ago, and I'm grateful to announce that expense has not increased significantly. We're only up about 1% on real estate taxes over the last 5 years. So we've essentially been given a buy on real estate tax increases by the town of Dedham. Security and transportation amounts to about 7%. And the largest piece of the monthly service fees goes to the culinary program. Out of that, so about 1/4 of the monthly service fees every year supports culinary. Out of that pie, about 60% are the salaries and wages of all the people who prepare and serve the culinary. About 35% is the actual food cost, and about 5% are other expenses like supplies. Are there any questions about expenses? Very quickly.
Don't see any.
Yes, I
Oh,
do.
yes, we have Charlie Small.
Okay. Yes.
Hi, Carol. Thank you very much
Hi.
for the presentation. I'm just a bit curious about the real estate taxes.
Mhm.
It sounds to me that you've got some sort of agreement with the township to voluntarily pay
No.
taxes. No? So
No.
how
We're
come?
independent living is considered residences within the town of Dedham. Just as if you had it.
So it's not protected by not-for-profit.
Right. Our assisted living and our long-term care, our healthcare areas don't actually pay either taxes or a pilot. And I would appreciate it if no one on this call would point that out to the town. Just leave it lie. So we don't actually pay any support directly to the town for our assisted living or healthcare areas. And the tax rate on our independent living areas that's considered a residence is actually substantially less than that assessed on standalone residences. So again, not rocking the boat here, just pointing out that they haven't come back to us and looked for an increase in the last 5 years. And I always try to look for one bright shining sliver in the cloud, and this is it.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, I think that does it. Let's go.
Jerry, can I have a question?
Sure.
Bob Weinstein. Yes, go ahead.
Carol,
Mhm.
what does that mean for our fees that are going to go up in October?
We don't have the budget finished yet.
Well, can you give us a guess as whether you're going to keep it modest
No.
or whether it'll be a big increase?
I don't know at this point, but certainly we're not looking at anything like last year's increase. If you go back and look, one of the problems with last year's increase at 10% is that we were going up 3.5 when expenses went up 4.5. We went up 3.9 when they went up 6.4. We went up 3.6 when they went up 6.5. So there was a little bit of an accumulated catch up there. The place that we're really focused, and I'm sure if you're listening to the news, salaries and wages continue to increase at a rate that's concerning to the Fed. And we're experiencing, I believe, greater than 5% increases in salaries and wages this year. So that continues to be a real area of concern. Largely speaking, what I see is that long-term, there is a declining workforce, and the number of people entering the workforce is much less than the number of people who are departing as the baby boomers retire. So we have a kind of long-term structural issue to focus on here. I do not expect to go back to this level because of the pressure of salaries. I do not expect to be at that level. What it is in between is indeterminate at this point because we have not completed the budget yet.
But who negotiates the management fee?
The management fee is fixed.
By
It's been
whom?
fixed.
By whom?
It was fixed in a contract with HSL back a number of years ago. It's 4% of revenues. And it's a very close approximation of what the unallocated overhead is. There's a lot of administrative services that they provide that we aren't charged for directly, and those are covered by management fees.
Okay, we'll move on.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
So
Go ahead.
a quick look at the census here. I would just highlight that obviously the year following the COVID pandemic was very difficult from a census perspective. That has rebounded, and this is pretty much our normal census now. So we've have seen very strong interest in moving into Newbridge. We continue to see an accelerated level of interest from inquiries and tours. And at this point, I believe we only have one unit that is available, and we are turning over our units at the expected, a little below the expected 150 days. So census remains very strong at Newbridge and independent living. And I thought this was just interesting. When we came out of COVID, we were rather afraid that there would be a fear of moving into communal living because of, the news of various poor outcomes in communal living. But interestingly, over the 2 years following COVID, in 21 and 22, we had 91 new independent living residents. And the average age, they came in at an average age of 80 years old, which was a couple of years younger than pre-COVID. And the average age of the population as a whole actually dropped by a year. And that's remarkable because when you think about it, everyone who was here in 19 was actually 3 years older at this point in time. Other than that, the population has been fairly stable between men, women, couples. We have a very high rate of couples moving in. About half of the new residents are couples. And the total number of residents has rebounded to the 325, 326 range that we've had before. So that's the finance picture.
Can I ask another question?
Go ahead.
Carol, do you know what percentage of increase in fees and how much the deposits, in other words, are people paying who formerly paid 500,000? Are they paying 600,000 now? What's the average increase?
Let's see, we have actually increased our monthly service fees by an average of about 3.35%.
No, not the service fee, the deposit.
I'm sorry, entrance fees. Yes,
I
entrance
want to know
fees.
the deposits.
Yeah, you mean the entrance fee, the money that people put up when they move in?
Yeah.
Yes, we've increased those through last year, I believe 3.35% a year. So we're up a little over 45% since the opening. And our average, actually I can pull the dollars real quickly here. Sorry, I didn't anticipate that particular question, but it's interesting. At the year that we opened, the average entrance fee at Newbridge on the Charles was $778,000 on a 90% refundable contract. And this year, that number was $1,233,000. And the total increase over those years, which is basically 14 years, was 60%.
So what happens to that increase in money? Where does that money kept? And
It comes, so basically, if you think about it, the net entrance fees that we count every year are made up of two things. One is those price increases, and the other is the 10% that I kept. So if the average entrance fee this year is $1.2 million at 90%, and Newbridge is going to keep 120,000 of that, or 10%. And when Newbridge opened, they kept about $75,000 of the contracts. Then that increase of let's see, about $40,000 to $45,000 a unit goes into net entrance fees. So we are collecting about $200,000 per turnover on units.
so why can't some of that money be used to lower the monthly fees?
Because it's going to capital improvements. So we have, and to debt service.
And
So
mortgage, correct.
Newbridge's mortgage every year is $13.4 million. And the capital expenditures that we are investing in kind of keeping Newbridge fresh and buying new cottage, her villa carpeting, et cetera, and replacing, for example, we replaced the transformer, I believe it was last week. So all of those are about $5.5 to $6.5 million a year.
Okay, we're going to move on from this. It's getting late and I don't want to cut back on anything Matt is doing. Meyer, you have the last question. Go ahead.
Can we get copies of these view graphs?
Yeah. I'll figure out with Jerry somehow to send the whole deck out if you're interested.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And thank you very much, Carol. And
Thanks, guys.
now, Matt, we're ready for you.
Thank you. May I make a suggestion? When you all download Touchtown, if you want a copy of this slide, you can click on Carol's name, send her an email, request one, and she'll send you one.
That's a good idea. That way I won't flood everyone with data
Yeah,
they
we
really
won't be
don't want to
wasting-
read.
Won't be wasting paper either. Eons ago, in the very beginning of today's resident Zoom chat, we had Michael Ross talking about the Appreciation Fund, and he left out one thank you, which is to Michael Ross himself. Michael, thanks for all your work on the Appreciation Fund. You know, you've been instrumental along with the team on moving this thing forward. So I just want to take that moment to acknowledge Michael and your hard work on that group as well. It is much appreciated. Let's see. Right now, I think everybody else probably sees. Is that your screen, Carol, or somebody else's?
I was trying to drop it and now I seem to have lost control.
I'm going to keep going, Jerry, while you're gaining control. Quick COVID update. We did have one COVID case in independent living. They have since tested negative. They're feeling okay, which is great, but just goes to prove to our community, even though the weather's beautiful, well, maybe not today. And the numbers are much lower in the Commonwealth, in our county. COVID is still around. It's still a real thing. It's not going anywhere. In Massachusetts, there's been a 25% decline in COVID cases over the last 2 weeks. And essentially, it's 5 individuals are contacting COVID per 100,000. So that's about the number where we've seen it each week. And here in our county, we've seen a 16% decline. So it's 3.6 people per 100,000. So from the COVID front, as far as risk goes, we're in a pretty good risk situation right now, but still be mindful, be safe. Any questions before I move on to my next topic? All right. I've received some notices from folks that they were getting emails from a woman named Rachel Arelli. Now, Rachel is actually Rachel Falk. She changed her last name. I don't know if she got married or just changed her name, but she is our psychologist in the outpatient clinic. So if you use those services and you're used to meeting with Rachel and you see a reminder or a confirmation note from Rachel Arelli, Arelli, A-R-I-E-L-L-Y, that's Rachel Falk from the outpatient clinic. That'll also be in my letter tomorrow. I just want to clear that up for anybody because I got an email from this Rachel and I had no idea who it was, and she was asking me about something and I started scratching my head saying, who are you? And so clear that up for hopefully some folks that have asked about that. Just a reminder, when you're in the vestibules, please don't leave the luggage carts in the way or walkers or shopping carts or any of that stuff. Some of our residents, when they come in, it can be pretty difficult to navigate that stuff. And I'm pretty sensitive based on the history of my career to try to make sure that we use those spaces to their full capability. I'd be really heartbroken to see somebody have an accident or something like that. So please make sure when you're using those things, you put them back, but they're nice and out of the way. And that way we can make sure we keep our community as safe as possible. You're going to see a quick survey sent out on Monday. This is from our rehab services team. They're exploring the use of technology in tracking health information and to see if it can be a predictor for a fall or an injury. And so the survey is exploring your interest in that. And you'll see that come out from Heather Margulis, and she is the director of rehab services. And there's a survey link in there with a Survey Monkey. If you're interested in filling it out, please just click on there. It'd be really helpful for them to have the information. We're trying to figure out how to use the research and information to really forward the community. See, I'm going rapid fire here because I can see people yawning. We went past the time. So I'm just firing away. So if you have questions, jump in there. I used to have a professor that used to say it's like a street fight. If you got something you want to add, just jump in. And I always thought that was odd, but and then lastly, we had Tom Williams, our horticulturalist, here on site. Tuesday morning, and he walked the grounds with myself, Fernando, Jess Coleman, and Kevin from AQPS. And so he gave us some great feedback. He thought overall everything looked very healthy for the most part. Some things need to be pruned. There's some burning that's happening when the curbing gets hot and things like that. But otherwise, it was a much better report than we got last year. So I feel like we're making great progress. At the same time, I understand landscaping is a hot button issue. It's kind of like food. Everybody's got a different flavor and feeling around it. And I can guarantee you that's the case because I get many calls every day about it. But we're working on it. And for those of you that know Kevin, he's given it his all out there. So with that, I will take questions.
So we have Elaine Oppenheimer. Go ahead, Elaine.
Hi, Elaine.
Diana Broner had planted a special tree in honor of there was a man from Ireland who was an arborist who came. John wants to know where that tree is. I've been trying to find the tree. He can't leave his cottage. I've asked Joe to find out something, or Mark. And excuse me.
So it looks like Larissa has an answer. Hold on a second. Go ahead, Larissa.
Yeah, I believe I know where the tree was planted.
Okay.
It was planted in a meadow in next to the assisted living room. So if you look from the windows of the assisted living dining or living room, this is where the tree is. I just remember Diana being there.
I can go one step further with that.
Okay.
And tell you, because I helped negotiate the way that was planted, it's a tulip tree. It is a
tulip tree, right?
It's doing well. It had a little bit of a rocky start. There was some animal that's clawed the trunk of it, but it looks healthy, and we are thrilled to have it there.
Right.
So
Is there a tag on it that she planted it? Can you remember?
There was no tag on it.
No.
Okay, so I'm going to try to find it so I can tell John. Okay, thank
You cannot miss it. It is, if you know where the Purple Beach is, stand and face assisted living, and it's a tree right near the patio. Closer
Okay.
to the patio.
Thank you. Bob Weinstein.
Helene, I will be happy to walk with you and show you where it is, and we can take a photograph so you can see it. Because I keep thinking about this tree.
I have a quick question. What is the
So if
status?
you'd have Bob, I'm going to have to teach you how to raise your hand, the regular way, so you'll come out like everybody else.
Well, I don't know how to do it.
Because I can't have you calling in like this all the time. Go ahead.
Well, this is, you want me to forget my question?
No, I don't want you to forget your question, but before the next time you and I are going to get together, everybody else has learned but you. Go ahead.
Well, I'm a little dumber. Anyway, Matt, what's the status of the sprinkler system in the campus?
As far as I know, there's no issue right now. The
No,
controllers.
we haven't had sprinklers in the cottages for a month.
Fernando, do you happen to be on this call?
Yes, I am. They're all working. We are having one issue that we ran into today, but for the most part, the sprinklers haven't been running because the weather's been kind of nice and it's been raining. So no sense putting the sprinklers on when it's been raining. So,
But they've been fixed?
Yes, they were fixed late last summer.
Well,
actually, we had a couple controllers that came in. We had another controller that blew that came in a few weeks ago that was put in. We're having a little issues with the programming on that, but that's being taken care of. But that's more down on this side of the world.
So Bob, don't just understand the questions you ask are terrific. So I'm just going to teach you because it would make it a lot easier if you didn't have to voice over to get attention.
I understand.
Okay. I guess we're done. Are we? Matt?
All right, take care, everyone. Yeah, I'm done. It's great to see everyone. Thanks for hanging in for a long meeting.
Yeah.
And, so much fun. Let's do it again next week.
Yeah. See you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.